Right. Well, just so that everybody knows that this is not the usual Mirador television output at this time in the morning, although most people don't watch it when we actually broadcast it live. But nonetheless, let's just remind you that the gang and I are. We're taking a break. Not a long break, but we're going to new places, getting new experiences, doing new things, getting ourselves refreshed, ready for the fray for the next 11 months of 2022. We'll be back well refreshed with a brand new persona, a brand new look. So we're only on holiday for a week, and then we'll be on top of the world. So join us in a week's time. Mirador Television. Watch us in February. Toodle pip. So, I'm not even getting holiday pay for this, but nonetheless, I don't know what's wrong with the lighting this morning. It's the usual lighting, but it just seems a little dark. But perhaps that's my mood, because as you can see from that little bit at the bottom, I'm Keith Hayes. I'm broadcasting out of Lewes in East Sussex. But we often do and are talking to the rest of the world. And the ice cake, the bloody iced cake, is really getting on my pip because it's obscuring real things in the world. And who's to blame? Yes, our leaders are to blame. Yes, our leaders are. But as a public, as a society, we're getting what the hell we asked for. We're getting what we wished for. We're getting a bunch of iced cake nomads. I ran out of words there. But you get the idea that I'm pretty pissed off with the fact that we're all concentrating on what's happening or did happen during lockdown in Westminster while the world is passing us by. Boris has gone to the Ukraine to talk to the Prime Minister there and to give our support should the Russians invade over the eastern border. And they are amassing troops. And even though Putin says from time to time he has no evil intent, then this morning there is another statement from him saying, but you see, the Americans are provoking us. Well, I'll tell you, Biden doesn't seem to be provoking anybody, including his own people. Talk about a lame duck president. Okay, my American friends may well say, come on, Keith, get off the pot. Stop talking about our president, and we'll stop talking about your prime minister. Well, that's fair enough. But the fact of the matter is that the Russian president is looking for every excuse to dip over the border into the Ukraine, which is a sovereign state. Now, what's my rant this morning? My rant this morning is that Boris missed a call with Putin. Probably a very important call in terms of be very careful what you're thinking of doing, Mr. President, because the United Kingdom can and will impose both sanctions. We are pretty good at cyber stuff. I wish we weren't. And we also have some pretty damn good armed forces. And that's the one thing that Britain still has got, a decent army. Maybe smaller, but it's still very efficient and still very effective. Still a very, very good defence force. But did he get the chance? No, because he was pulled away to talk about his bloody ice cake during lockdown. And what happened was, who popped up? And who's going to be the saviour of Europe? Macron. President Macron. God, doesn't this sound like the PR that was put out at the end of the last war? Who saved Europe? Who saved France? Who saved the world? Right? President de Gaulle. And now it's going to be President Macron. Why? Because our own Prime Minister was fiddling around trying to defend himself from the idiots that keep on about his iced cake. Yes, it's a serious breach. Yes, it is. But can we just let them get on with it? Get on with the investigation instead of having such an obsession with it that we are ignoring what's happening in the rest of the world. And there are lots happening in the rest of the world. When we're faced with war, we need a Prime Minister who is willing to be on a war footing. Now, for all his faults, Boris is trying to do that, except he keeps on being called back to handle people who are obsessed, because actually they're anti-Boris. That's all. And I can understand why they're anti-Boris. A lot of people are anti-Boris. I'm not being pro-Boris. What I am saying is, for God's sake, while he is Prime Minister, can he please get on with the important things, the things that are going to stop our life suddenly being changed because a rocket appears on the back lawn. No, it can't happen. Well, why wouldn't it happen? You know, most people watching this will be won't remember when the Russians and the Americans had a standoff over Cuba, and it was President Kennedy who said, "You land a rocket on Cuba," and there were Russian ships steaming there. President Khrushchev, "You land one single rocket on Cuban soil," Cuba being the soft underbelly of the American continent, "and you will find yourself dealing with a mighty power." And Khrushchev backed off, and the Russian ships went home. Well, that could be the same here. But you know, all you need is a blinkered and determined head of state of a hostile nation, and you're in trouble. Now, let me be quite clear. I sound like a bloody politician, don't I? I love the Russian people. I have many, many Russian friends. I have spent many months there. I've trained their journalists. I still stay in touch. I'm still occasionally invited to lunch or dinner or whatever when their television service holds some sort of party. Well, they are not bad people any more than we're bad people. I don't know what the Russian view is. I haven't bothered to ask, which I should do. Now I can see us tearing down a one-way street to where it'll be known as the war of the Boris's ice cake. My goodness me, my goodness me. Let us let the man get on with his job, and then we can spank him. Then we can turf him out. But for the moment, a change of leadership would be absolutely diabolical. It would leave us a defenseless nation. It really would. And we better start thinking about that while we keep on looking at our fingernails, looking where we shouldn't look. Yeah. Let us let the man get on with it for the moment, because as a nation, we are behaving like lemmings. One jumps over the cliff and the rest of us want to go with him. Well, I'm not jumping over the cliff, I'll tell you. I say let the man get on with it and let him be successful in warding off what could be World War III. Because make no mistake, wars have started by accident. One finger on a trigger that was pulled before the command was given. And the world is thrown into complete mayhem and chaos. I don't think much of any of our leaderships at the moment around the world. I don't see any statesmen. I don't see any real leaders. But what we've got, at least let's try hard to avoid war. And who can avoid it? We can. We can, because we're determined to do that and not get obsessed with what's happening in Westminster. That bubble needs to be pricked anyway. Reform should be in the air. Reform. It's the one word that politicians just hate. They absolutely hate it. If there was a book burning, I'm quite sure that any book with the word reform in it would go onto the pile. Right, we'll be back next week with our real rants. This was just a mild little go from me. Okay, I'm just going to make sure that no, we haven't got anybody's, because we're a bit erratic this week. We're not necessarily broadcasting at any particular time, but somewhere around 8 o'clock. And what is it? Oh, it's 3 minutes past 8 now. Anyway, off we go, but I always like to end on something that's gentle. So let's end with Susan Harris's pictures. I just love them. First thing in the morning. Until tomorrow, toodle pip.